Hey everyone, it is John Trent from Bounding into Comics. I'm joined by my co-hosts Donald Edmonds and Philip Pratt, and we've got special guest with us again this week, Itchybacca from Disney Star Wars is Dumb. Jorge cannot make it tonight, and hopefully that Drew will be able to join us later. So I hope you all are having a good evening tonight. There is a ton of stuff happening all around. But we wanted to dive in with Star Wars because it's just going gangbusters today. I feel like every time I turned around, there was a new Star Wars story breaking, and we got Itchy on here to talk some Star Wars with us. So what was the biggest story that you saw today that you really were like, holy crap?
Well, the biggest story today actually came last night. I think it was, J.J. Abrams being on the advisory board of Atom Tickets, which Disney also invests in, which was actually broke by Clown TV, and Geeky Sparkles discovered that. The whole Atom Tickets story is really kind of the big thing, I think. And there were some leaks today and stuff, but that really takes the cake. And just a few minutes ago, I published a story about Fandango as well, trying the same thing. But at any rate, to set the stage here, how this all started to snowball was a lot of media outlets published a story basically saying that the Rise of Skywalker pre-sales were double that of Avengers Endgame. And then I remembered when Solo was in the theaters, they published the same story about Solo, that Solo had doubled the pre-sales of Black Panther. And we all know how that turned out. So that's kind of how that started. And then I found that let's see here. Hold on.
Yeah, so Deadline says Rise of Skywalker sold 2.5 times more tickets.
Yeah.
In its first day of pre-sales than Last Jedi, and 45% more than Avengers Endgame in its first hour.
Right, but those news stories coming today about the Rise of Skywalker, it was only Atom.com tickets. It was not Fandango. It was only Atom.
Right, correct.
Which we later found out J.J. Abrams is on the board of directors.
Oh, goodness.
Disney invests in Atom. So it's kind of like, of course, they're going to say their own movie is breaking records. Plus, SC Reviews pointed me to the fact that they were selling a collectible ticket. So there was a collectible incentive to buy this ticket from Atom. Additionally, I found a story from the last when Avengers Endgame was out. The ticket pre-sale crashed.
Oh yeah, it crashed.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, right. we covered that. Yeah.
So all these media outlets are comparing this pre-sales for a working website with with a crashed website for Avengers. So,
yeah, when you're saying that your sales are 45% higher than Avengers Endgame when your app and your website were down, then
right. Well, of course, yeah, you're selling more. Your medium was working.
Right.
And I think Mark points out here. He says no one ever uses Atom. I've never used Atom. I actually had never heard of them until I was covering that Avengers Endgame story when they were like saying that they were crashing. And they're relatively new. Wikipedia says they were founded in 2014, and they launched some movie subscription service in March of this year. And so, their investors include Walt Disney Company, 20th Century Fox, and Lionsgate as of 2016. Yeah. And then I think you pointed out that Dwayne Johnson and Danny Garcia are also investors.
Right. Yeah. So, it was just, it's all a bunch of BS. And now just recently, somebody pointed me to an article about from Deadline where the headline says The Rise of Skywalker, advanced ticket sales more than any other Star Wars pick on Fandango. And yet people are posting images of empty theater seats.
So here, let me show you this real quick. So this is a website I use to, it's like have you heard of Alexa? So this is like a free version of Alexa. This is adamtickets.com. I wonder why there were so many hits in April. Could it have been Avengers? Maybe. And then you can see, I mean, obviously it's September here, and so we're not seeing October yet. So October won't be up until November, but I mean, you can see that. I mean, they're not. We get more traffic than them in some of these months.
Yeah.
So, and we're like a very still like very young niche website. So,
but it's interesting that here the next day or the day later, I had never heard of Adam before a few days ago. Now Fandango is putting out the same kind of article, despite the fact that people are posting these images of empty theater seats at their local theater. So, everybody knows who's old enough that people slept in line overnight to go to Star Wars movies on the first night, but there's
lines at the doors.
So how could they be breaking records if there's still empty seats? Right? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I think I really want to point this out. They're using this like in its first hour. It's very like if you really dig into the actual articles, the headlines are extremely misleading. But then they'll tell you what's really happening in the article in first hour.
Yeah, definitely. and then I go on to find that Fandango named an ex-Disney executive as their president back in 2012, and he's still the president, Paul Yanover.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Disney owns the world now.
Yeah.
Well, I also want to point out, so like with Adam, it sold 2.5 times more tickets in its first day of pre-sales than The Last Jedi. Well, that's because Adam Tickets was what no one even we don't even know what it is in 2019. Just think how many people knew what it was in 2017 with The Last Jedi.
Well, right. And that's the other thing. There was an article published by Scott Mendelson from Forbes. I think you guys probably know him.
I know. Yeah.
Back in March of 2019, that more moviegoers are buying more of their tickets online, and he's talking about different studies that show that. So it may not even be an indication of the success of Skywalker. It's just an indication that more people are buying their tickets online rather than at the theater.
Well, I also think that comes down to, I mean, you were showing the pictures. People are reserving their seats now. They're not right. Just showing up like an hour beforehand and right. buying at the box office. We're buying reserved seats so we don't have to wait in line, and we can just show up. We can show up 15, 20 minutes after the scheduled time. So even if you want to skip the previews, because it's not like you get like 30 minutes of previews now.
Sure. Still one would think if there was the same amount of demand as there were, say, for the prequels, that all those seats would be gone by now, at least for opening night, and they're not. And another interesting thing is that folks who pre-order and purchase Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, the video game, will get a $15 Fandango movie ticket with the video game. So that's probably going to play into things as well. Although you can use the ticket for any movie, it's not specifically tied to Rise of Skywalker.
I'm pretty sure that's what their intention was, though.
Sure. Yeah.
Or you go any movie you want, but go to this one, please.
So that was that story.
Yeah, I like. If you go to Itchy's website, he's got this. I think it's at the top of the page. It's close to the top of the page, but he has all these screenshots of people like posting on Twitter of how empty their theaters are in response to all of these news stories saying that it's being like sold out. And I mean, almost all of the screenshots maybe have max 20 tickets sold, 20 seats sold.
Yeah.
And like this one theater, there's got to be at least maybe it looks like there might be like a close to 75 seat theater or more, 100-seat theater or more, and there's only like a couple seats in the middle sold.
Yeah. It's just so funny how this is playing
Yeah.
out exactly the way Solo did. I mean, just beat for beat. On opening day, I expect we'll be seeing lots of pictures posted on Twitter of empty theaters, just like we did for Solo.
I can't believe they're actually using. They brought up Endgame. I physically could not see Endgame for 2 weeks after it came out because it was just impossible almost. It's like unless I wanted to sit in the front row, like sitting looking up like this, and I was like, I'm not doing. I did it one time, never again. And I was like, I really could not find a ticket. 2 seats. I needed 2 seats. For me and my wife, I could not find one for 2 weeks together.
Yeah. Endgame was a big deal. It was a big deal.
It was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw the spike there. April, they spiked at over 6 million, and then it quickly dropped down.
Right. And so when you take into account all of the diminishing different aspects of their sales in comics and DVDs and merchandise, and you look at the interest trends in Google Analytics, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just these stories are clearly just pure BS. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, we did that story. I mean, I think you might have covered it too. The Sci-Fi Wire guy, admitting that that's what they do. I mean, you see it play out
that was Data Racer. He had an audio file of that up on his Twitter. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and then so there's this other. So like the other big story was these actual like leaked photos that came out with the two, with Kylo and Rey wielding 2 blue lightsabers, and then Palpatine standing up from that throne and like shooting lightning into the air.
Yeah, those 2 were DMCA'd by Disney. So they effectively confirmed that they're genuine. There were some later ones that leaked that apparently were fakes. Those have not been DMCA'd yet, to my knowledge.
Well, I think it was just the one, though, right? That was, or were all of those fake?
No, not all of them were fake.
Okay.
I think the one with Kylo, where he's kind of looking like he's walking on Tatooine, a lot of people thought it's just a tan background. You can't really tell what it is, really. I think that one's genuine, but it may not be. Who knows? Tomorrow we may find out it's not. But the other 2 that were DMCA'd clearly are genuine.
Yeah, with Kylo holding the lightsaber, the blue lightsaber, and we reported on that yesterday. That scene looks like it's going to happen. So Bespin Bulletin, I guess, kind of. I think you reported on it as well, but Bespin Bulletin, like, kind of, he put together what Jedi packs us in, like, making Star Wars, like, because they've been, like, their sources have been updating their leaks or whatever story, and then it sounded like in like one of like leading up to like this final confrontation with Palpatine, Kylo is fighting off the Knights of Ren, and Rey senses that he's like losing, and so she like force bonds with him and like tosses him a lightsaber through the force bond. So apparently the force bond is now stronger than what we saw in The Last Jedi, and she can actually cross across space and time.
This
through this force bond is what it sounded like in the leak.
There was also a YouTube video I had posted on my blog. I haven't had time to listen to it yet, but apparently somebody's reading a leaked screenplay. The actual screenplay has leaked. Apparently.
Wow.
Supposedly. Somebody was reading that on their YouTube channel.
I'll have to look up that tomorrow then.
Yeah. This thing is really just turning out to be a clusterfuck. I mean, it's just no other way to put it.
Disney's security is not what it used to be.
It won't surprise me if the entire film gets leaked before the release date. Like the early rough cut or the work print of it.
Yeah.
Oh, like Endgame was?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. Yeah. So I also wanted to talk about, I was actually really, so this is not Rise of Skywalker, but it's still Star Wars. And so I don't know if you noticed, but when they released the Mandalorian list, they skip a week for the Rise of Skywalker. So there's that empty space there 1 week with the Mandalorian on Disney Plus. But I saw this article that you had with Favreau here, and I think we might cover it as well tomorrow because I thought this was really interesting. So he's talking about that the show is supposed to like teach you a life lesson or something.
Yeah. He wants to teach life lessons with the stories in the show. And he's saying, not that he was told by Lucas not to worry about the existing fans, that he's trying to reach out to a new generation of fans, which that's just another way of saying it's not going to be your daddy's Star Wars, right? They're going to appeal to the Raylo crowd, the millennials. So at least that's how I interpret it. That's how I interpret it.
That hasn't worked though. I mean, they just can't. I mean, I guess Star Wars Resistance is not like Raylo, and I'm a millennial. Don's a millennial.
So am I.
I think you're a millennial too, Phil. So
yeah, I'm Gen X.
Oh, you're Gen X. You're Gen X, Don.
I think the big problem is that they had traditionalists, regardless of your generation, were traditionalists mostly the fans of the show, and they're trying to appeal to a segment of the population who tends to follow fashion trends. So once this is no longer fashionable for them, they're going to go on to the next thing. And so that is one of the big mistakes of turning Star Wars into Twilight, because Twilight is highly fashionable. I mean, hardly anybody talks about it anymore, right? Except to mock it. So
goodness. Bad memories.
Batman fans.
Bad memories.
Yeah, Batman fans are talking about it now.
Yeah. So
had to watch every single one of those movies.
So, anyways, that's my interpretation of what he said.
Yeah. So I want to actually read this real quick here. So he says, "I don't feel the pressure except to the audience that's seeing what I'm making, and I feel that pressure every time. And I think much like the chefs I learned from when I was training to play that role, there's a certain stripe of personality that are attracted to telling stories, which is you want to do something, but this experience isn't complete until the people that eat the meal, watch the show, watch the movie, reacts to it." I don't know. I think that kind of, to me, it's like he's nervous about how the audience is going to react to what he
wasn't
what
there
he
like
made.
a critical.
He probably is.
They saw it and they said it felt like old school Star Wars.
There's a number of people who have said that. Some of the initial first reactions, and I took those initial first reactions and I compared them to the first reactions of the exact same critics who made those first reactions to their first reaction to The Last Jedi and Solo. And they basically were giving all of them glowing reviews.
Yeah, I saw that story.
It was an agenda.
It was like word for word, crazy how it was.
Yeah, Slash Film blocked me over it.
There was one other thing. This other story you had. So episode 9 trailer breaks record for most dislikes of Disney era on YouTube.
Yeah.
So the Rise of Skywalker has over. I guess when you wrote the story, it was over 45,000 dislikes.
Yeah, that's the tweet I had saw from another gentleman, and by the time I screen capped it, it went up to 46,000. It may be up, it may be up some more.
58,000.
58,000. Yeah.
You're kidding me.
It's gone over. That's a huge increase. Oh my gosh. It has 375,000 upvotes
Yeah.
What is The Last Jedi? The Last Jedi trailer is actually really good. For a trailer.
So Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Last Jedi had 40,000 dislikes, 767,000 upvotes. So it's not even anywhere. It's not even over half, or I guess it's close to half. Upvotes.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's. Hey Rosetta, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Stopping by. Yeah, no, I just. And then, I mean, the trailer pretty much like confirmed all of the almost all of those leaks with Jedi Paxis and making Star Wars.
Yeah,
that we've seen so far. We saw the dagger, which I'm seeing different things. I think I'm seeing like it's the dagger of Mortis from like the Clone Wars, and then I'm seeing it's some like Sith assassin named Ochi's dagger.
Yeah.
But like Rey's holding it in her hand. There's obviously whatever that like black stone is that they're like destroying. That could be the Wayfarer stone or whatever.
Yeah. So it all appears that Jedi Paxis had some pretty good information behind that stone, whatever that thing is. Another gentleman, Junkman, that Star Wars Junkman, he found Chewie's bandolier and bowcaster sitting on a shelf behind on the wall behind Kylo.
Really, in that scene?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's no good.
That's a sharp eye. Yeah.
So that was another one of the spoilers, was that Chewie is thought to be dead at one point, and C-3PO carries around his bandolier for a while.
Oh, that toy leak with C-3PO with the weapons.
Yeah.
Well, that was the poster that leaked like earlier in the year, and then it was confirmed that was like a legit poster.
Yeah.
And people were trying to.
They're going to kill him off in the first act or something, because that seems to have that much time to go from CP3O to someone's wall. I mean, that's a lot of time, isn't it?
It seems like they are going to kill him off towards the end of the first act, but according to the Jedi Paxis spoilers, it's a fake. He's not really dead. He comes back.
Yeah, they were saying that Rey realizes that he's still alive on the Millennium Falcon, and that like pushes her to like try and go there because Kylo Ren's using like Chewbacca as bait or something.
Yeah.
How long is this movie? Is it normal length?
It's the longest Star Wars film ever, I think.
Yeah.
55 minutes.
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Seems like it's going to be. There's a lot of stuff to pack into a movie, knowing what already has to happen for it to make sense. It's like,
there's a lot of lore stuff from what I understood from the trailer. They're just throwing stuff in there. There's some stuff from like Rebels. There's some stuff from like the Clone Wars, from what I understand.
It's gonna feel like 8 hours.
Yeah,
I will not go.
So you also had this other story about like how much that there's like rumors, I guess, about what the cost of the film was, and it's upwards of $400 million, and 35 of that went to Ian McDiarmid for what, like 3 minutes of screen time?
Yeah,
that's the rumor.
That's what some purported leakers on 4chan are claiming. I can't remember exactly. I think Harrison Ford got $50 million for his appearance in Force Awakens. But that's the rumor that
$1 million.
Ian is getting $35 million for 3 minutes of screen time.
And that laugh in the Star Wars Celebration trailer.
Yeah, that's part of it. I guess that's 10 seconds worth.
I hope it's worth it for them.
Yeah, so I mean, there's 35 million, 400 million. That's about what Solo was, right?
Yeah.
That's how much it made,
after reshoots.
That's
or is that how much it made?
That was how much it brought in
Okay, it was like
not how much
with
it paid, though. I mean, it actually lost money because
because it was like $250 production reshoots, I think, right?
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
there was the initial budget, and then there was the budget for the reshoots and the rehiring of the new director.
Advertising costs about as much as a film costs sometimes too. So
there was some recasting. There may have even been some post-production effects works because the villain in Solo was originally supposed to be some kind of cat man, like a Thundercat type of alien.
Okay.
So I don't know how far they got with that. If they did any kind of CG work on it or not. But if they did, that was all money down the drain.
Well, not necessarily. If Disney goes and buys the Thundercats, and we see a live action Thundercat, where the model came from,
they may have to.
Yeah, so there's in the Old Republic, there's a race called the Cathar, and they're like a feline race. So they might have been trying to introduce that. Maybe
that could be.
Did they have the Sword of Thundera? I mean,
not that I'm aware of.
Mark's asking. They had a $400 million budget. That is the rumor, Mark. That is the rumor from 4chan. The 4chan leaker said Disney's angry and film is a mess. They spent $400 million on it. Leaks confirmed, real by trailer.
Dude, give me $5,000. I'll dig up Alec Guinness from the grave and put him in front of the camera like Weekend and Bernie style. Gee.
You might actually fill the seats. I don't think anybody's gonna come for this. I really don't.
Are you talking like a $400 production or $400 million all overall?
Overall
budget. That's what the leak said was
it,
budget.
It does. I mean, I'm looking at the screenshot on it. Doesn't say specifically. It just says they spent $400 million on it. But I would assume you're right. It's the production budget.
That's a lot.
Yeah, because Mandalorian's $12 million per episode.
How many episodes?
8. From what I understand.
Yeah, Script Doctor is saying there's also. Has that been confirmed, Script Doctor? Is that a rumor as well? He's saying that they've repurposed their ad budget for reshoots and post production.
That would make sense. I haven't seen much around that you would think for a tentpole film that comes out in less than 2 months.
Yeah, usually you see all of those collaboration commercials, like The Last Jedi had all those. I think it was Honda.
Yeah.
All those car commercials and stuff. And you haven't really seen those yet.
There really hasn't been much marketing at all for Episode 9. To be honest with you, we've had a few trailers. The trailers we have had have been lackluster, kind of bland and boring.
We've only really had 2 trailers, and then that Star Wars Celebration was like half the trailer was the original trilogy and the prequel.
Yeah.
Well, some T-shirts at Target.
Yeah. So they may be trying to go for another Solo bad marketing excuse, maybe. Who knows?
Well, I'll be interested to see if Iger says it was because they didn't delay the film another year.
It was because of Kathleen.
The worst excuse ever. Like, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
We have all these Pixar movies that we put out every year. No problem. We have all these Marvel movies that we put out every year. No problem. Star Wars, that's a problem. It's a garbage excuse. All right. Was there anything else y'all wanted to talk about with Star Wars related, or do you want to jump into this Batman rumor?
There's nothing going on with the Mandalorian yet, right? It's just still we're just waiting for episode 1.
Just waiting for the episode, and the big thing with it is the debate online whether or not it's going to be political, how much politics. I tend to think it's going to be saturated with it. For a number of reasons. Other people think there's not going to be any because they have faith in Jon Favreau. I think his record is a little bit more spotty than some folks want to admit. But
I know his TV record is not that bad. I'm a big fan of his show Revolution, the 2 seasons that it had.
Oh, that show.
Yeah, I love that show. I'm in the process of rewatching the first season. I mean, it really holds up. It's a good show. Though there's some other things I don't agree with, like the existence of overweight people in this and that. It doesn't make any sense. Everyone's starving. How are you heavy? So
Yeah.
so
Maybe I'll give that Revolution a shot. But I wasn't all that impressed with Cowboys and Aliens or Iron Man 2.
That wasn't. That's a movie. I'm talking about TV wise.
Yeah,
I can deal with that. Revolution was pretty. It's pretty exceptional in my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, he did do Iron Man, but I didn't watch The Lion King, but I didn't really hear a lot of good things about it.
No interest in watching it.
Yeah.
It's just I've seen it before. I don't want to see it in live action. We're good.
Live action, right?
Yeah, it's just live action. CGI. Sorry.
So yes, going back to Star Wars, Script Doctor saying we haven't really seen a lot of posters. Like we haven't seen character posters. Usually, like all the Marvel movies have character posters. Star Wars usually has character posters. We haven't seen character posters. And we're 2 months out. That's kind of odd. He's saying there's no billboards or even on buses either. I haven't seen anything. I was just in Nashville. I saw nothing for Rise of the Skywalker, and I haven't seen anything here in the DC suburbs.
There's not much of anything at all, and I'm wondering if they're trying to bury it.
Well, the idea was that that ad production was going to the reshoots, right? And so all the rumors are that they're still reshooting it. This 4chan rumor about the $400 million production budget says they're still reshooting.
Yeah. Another guy, Jordan Myson, the official Star Wars artist for Topps, said that there were something like 8 different endings shot. He said they weren't completely different; they were similar, but still, who's
That's for security issues, or they haven't made up their mind issues.
It's all different. All different things coming from all different directions. That was something Jordan Myson had said. Another leaker had said that they had done all these different endings. Kylo Ren dies in all of them, and the audience didn't like any of them. So it's just a lot of conflicting leaks. All different things are coming out.
Yes. Doomcock's source said it was like there were 12 different edits or whatever. And then this former StarWars.com contributor, how did you say his name? Jordan
Myson, I think is how you pronounce it.
Yeah, okay, Myson.
Yeah.
He said there was like 8 different leaks, and then I've seen something where there's he said there's 8 different endings, but they're kind of similar.
Yeah.
And then I think I saw something, there was like 6 different endings as well. So there's definitely like a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, and when you're seeing this, I don't know. I've seen people trying to explain it, saying like, "Oh, these are all just kind of like false leaks or whatever to try and hide the real leaks." I don't know. A lot of these leaks, they're telling the same story.
A lot of them do seem to be converging. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not really. I don't know.
Oh, we'll all find out in 2 months. Or at least everyone who goes to the theater will.
Well, I mean, people will find out when they are on YouTube and watching everyone spoil it. I mean, spoilers are going to be everywhere.
Yeah, I really think this thing is going to leak. The other. I
mean, it pretty much already has, right?
Well,
in terms of those pictures, yeah.
Yeah, in terms of the pictures, but I think.
Well, if Jedi Paxis' stuff is legit, I mean, it's out there already.
Yeah. I think the whole film will come out, though. I think it'll be leaked. But
all right.
Let's find it. the other kind of a big story that was just recently is Rian Johnson backtracked on his if statement. Regards to his trilogy. So that's probably still in the cards,
He was playing dumb, like, oh, is that what I said?
Yeah. He's probably just trolling.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what he does now.
Yeah. I mean, the bottom line is if he was given a contract before The Last Jedi was released, then they're going to be obligated to fulfill it unless they buy him out. But on the other hand, if the deal was just, made over a beer and a handshake, then
Hey, this is Disney. So remember they did the Terrence Howard in Iron Man 2, so don't put anything past them.
Yeah, well, they did the same thing with Lucas's sequel trilogy.
There you go.
They
Like,
kind
yeah, we'll look at it.
Yeah, they winked at him and said, "Oh yeah, sure." And yeah, so I don't know what the case is, if he has a contract or if it was just a handshake. But
So I wrote about this today. So that Star Wars girl had the tweet where, I don't know if it was based off of your article or not, but it was the shot where Rey is right next to the destroyed seat from the Death Star that Palpatine sat on, and Kylo's there, like looking at her.
yeah,
like lower in the shot, and it's the same. It's very similar to the shot of Daenerys at the Iron Throne.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that looks really familiar to Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's, the composition was almost exact. And it was Doomcock, I think, who noticed that the rising Star Destroyer coming out of the water was just like the rising Enterprise coming out of the water that J.J. Abrams had done in remake movies. Yeah.
Yeah, Drew pointed that out on when we did the reaction as well.
Oh, JJ.
And then you saw the Corvette too was very similar. The Corellian Corvette did that same scene. I think Gary from Nerdrotic talked about that as well. But about the that scene with the at the Death Star throne. So what I thought was interesting with Anna's, that Star Wars girl's tweet, was she was kind of insinuating or conjecturing that maybe Dan and Dave were actually already working on Rise of the Skywalker. And Iger stated, what I think it was like over the summer he said like the next movie is a Dan and Dave, and everyone assumed that it was the 2022 movie, but could it be this one? They're already working on it, and this is the movie that they're working on.
I don't even know. To be honest with you, my interest does not go past the Rise of Skywalker. I read a little bit about the Mandalorian, all those other things swirling around in the future. May or may not happen. Who's to say? They've already killed projects they said they were going to do, like the Boba Fett movie and so on and so forth. So it's hard to keep up with everything they say they have on their calendar coming in the future, because it seems like it's constantly changing.
Yeah, I mean, and we've seen that with MCU as well. Inhumans was originally scheduled to be an MCU film, and that obviously got taken off. And when that was like officially announced, it was an officially announced film. So those things change. We see it all the time. I mean, just look at what Fox did with Dark Phoenix. The release date was moved like 3 times, and who knows if we'll actually see New Mutants come out next year.
Yeah, I tend to
stream that thing.
Straight to DVD.
I tend to focus on stuff that's just kind of in the near future, stuff that's pushed off the way. I don't focus on it too much, because it's just constantly shifting, constantly changing, and it's hard to get anything confirmed or solid on any of that.
All right, well, let's get into some of this Batman stuff here, because I actually thought this was really interesting as well. So you want to take the lead on this one, Phil? I know you're the one who.
Yeah, sure. Let me pull it up real quick.
And as a precursor to that story, wasn't that newspaper clip of Michael Keaton picture as Bruce Wayne in the that CW big old crossover Crisis on Infinite Earth?
Yeah,
yeah.
There's a leaked on-set newspaper headline that Bruce Wayne has gotten married to Selena Kyle, and it's a photo of Michael Keaton.
Was that confirmed as a legit thing?
I have not seen it confirmed, but it's there.
Like so, yeah.
I mean, there was a similar leak. There was a similar leak with a Watchmen, and they said like Veidt was dead, and that was, as Phil knows, that was in the first episode. with the newspaper, and we saw the newspaper stuff from the Joker too in it, and that was in there as well. All right, but let's go. Let's take it away, Phil. Michael Keaton.
Yeah, Yahoo Lifestyles. I guess it's one of their entertainment branches from Yahoo News. They said that on We Got It Covered, they suggested that certain sources are claiming that Michael Keaton could play an older Bruce Wayne in a live action version of Batman Beyond. Now, I'm not sure if anyone knows what Batman Beyond is. Actually, it had what seasons? All of us do. I don't know who watching it, but it had 2 seasons on WB. And I remember it premiered on Sunday night, like 7:30 on Fox, I believe.
Prime time.
It came on prime time. It was either Fox or it came on at just before their Sunday slate of primetime shows. All I remember it was at night. That's all I remember. And it was different. It wasn't Bruce Wayne as Batman, though it did start out. The first scene was Bruce Wayne as Batman, but he was getting beat up by a punk. And he was forced to pull a gun. And from that day on, he stopped being Batman because he couldn't physically be Batman anymore. It fast forwards years later, and we have Terry McGinnis. He's a high school. I'm not sure he's a wrestler, so he's a high school jock. He's typically a good-hearted kid, but he's falling in with the wrong crowd, and he ends up helping Bruce Wayne, or they helping each other, and then he stumbles upon Bruce Wayne's secret of being Batman. He puts the suit. He sneaks back into the house later on, puts the suit on, and after Bruce Wayne kind of lets him get beat up for a while, which is kind of messed up but funny, they starts training him to be the new Batman. It was beloved. I'm not sure anyone else. I love the series. I absolutely love the series.
It was syndicated on Cartoon Network too.
Yeah,
I think it came on after, like, they had like Batman the animated series, and then Batman Beyond came on like right after it.
Mm-hmm. Best episode was Ice, Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze episode was really good, but I also like the
bomb ass armor.
The 2 episodes, one with I guess what was the name of the Atomic Fire, whatever his name was. Forgot his name.
Oh, the nuclear guy?
Yeah. I thought the first 2 episodes were really good as well, but they had a lot of episodes, like when he cheated on his girlfriend with Ace. That was hilarious to me. I was like, they're just really going at it. I was like, they were not broken up. He's just straight cheating on her right now. And it was kind of like moved past it like it didn't happen. I was like, okay, this kind of adult for a kid. It was really a Saturday morning kids cartoon, and he just spend the night with her too. I mean, it was a good show, but the main part of why this is relevant, because Bruce Wayne in that show, he's old. He's like in his 60s or 70s or maybe even older than that. Michael Keaton, of course, was is he the oldest living Batman right now? Because
yes,
Adam West passed, didn't he?
Yes.
So he's the oldest living Batman, and Michael Keaton, he's a little longer in the tooth now. He's pushing like 70 years old almost, I believe, isn't he?
He's got to be up there. Yeah.
I mean, he did play Vulture though.
He doesn't look
pretty old. But at this moment, he physically looks the part.
He's 68.
Steve pushing 70. Yeah.
Yep.
He physically looks the part of the aged Bruce Wayne. He doesn't. I mean, we don't have to go, word for word the same thing, but he looks like an older. He could pull off being an older Bruce Wayne, and we've been asking for this for a long time. Like, there's some other guys on YouTube, like John Campia, who doesn't seem to like the idea and says no one's asking for it. And I'm like, every time he says that on his chat, it blows up. Like, who are you talking to, John? Everyone's wanting this. His own fans are calling him crazy. And the idea of this happening, I don't understand why it hasn't come up before, because it's such a great idea. And who doesn't want to see, Gotham, in that futurized Gotham on screen? I can't wait to see that hyper. It's not steampunk, but hyper, technologically advanced Gotham, opposed to.
It's like cyber. Oh, it's not cyberpunk either. It's I don't know what you'd call that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a 2099 title from Marvel. Exactly, you're a Marvel fan.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, the fact that this is coming up now, I think it's a great look. I mean, especially with DC kind of like not doing their extended universe, just doing separate films that have nothing to do with each other. Go all into it and give us a Batman Beyond. I would eat that up. I don't know about anybody. Again, can't talk for anyone else. I would eat that up.
If Billy D. Williams is getting back into the game, he could come back as Harvey Dent.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I forgot about that.
He could be
He was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
89
He was
Harvey
supposed
Dent.
to be. Yeah.
Yep. Ooh, that could be good.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
No, I mean, it's something new. It's something fresh. We haven't seen it on the screen before. I know a lot of people are getting tired of like seeing the same Batman story over and over again, or that's what they say they are. But yeah, I think Terry McGinnis would be really fun, and there's a lot of things that they could explore there.
Yeah, not to spoil anything, but the show's been off the air for I don't know, almost 20 years. But
Holy cow, I feel old.
Well, you did admit you were Gen X.
You did say that earlier. I was like, you don't look it, but okay.
Yeah, you don't.
But yeah, I'm not sure if it, again, not trying to spoil it again, been gone for almost 20 years, but Terry McGinnis is the genetic child of Bruce Wayne. He didn't birth, he had nothing to do with the child's birth, but his father's DNA, Terry's father's DNA was overwritten with a retrovirus to turn his DNA into what Bruce Wayne's was at the time. So when he fathered his two children, they're genetically the children of Bruce Wayne, which makes sense because his parents had both like brown and red hair, and he comes out with black hair and blue eyes like Bruce Wayne. And that means his little brother as well is also Bruce Wayne's genetic son. And you find this out not at the end of Batman Beyond, but at the end of Justice League Unlimited. They did like a one-off episode of
they travel into the future.
Yeah,
I remember that episode.
I think it was like Green Lantern.
I forgot what the situation was, but I just know they buttoned up Batman Beyond at the end of Justice League Unlimited. So that's something they can always explore. It's not the same Batman story, but in that episode, you also find out that they try to duplicate the incidents that created Batman by killing his parents. But the Phantasm, Batman's ex-girlfriend, she couldn't go through with it, and that's why he grew up with his parents, but he still became Batman. So there's that.
How do they approach the Joker in Batman Beyond?
Yeah, they did it a couple ways. They did it a couple ways. The first they had the Joker gang, which was just a bunch of pretending to be Joker or wanting to just emulate him. And then they went the route during the Batman Beyond movie. I forgot what it was called. Joker Returns or Joker Reborn, something like that. And Joker had very much similar to how they rewrote Terry McGinnis' father's DNA. They rewrote the DNA of Tim Drake, I believe. Was it Tim Drake or Dick Grayson? Mm-hmm. One of the Robins. They got their DNA rewritten, and his personality stored in a microchip or something along those lines. And after a while, he just kind of reconstituted himself in his body. Mm-hmm. So
okay.
Doesn't he like fly around on like the Green Goblin, or is that the Joker gang?
I think he got some kind of hovercraft thing. He was flying around because either Tim Drake, he was in construction and he got hold of it. He was flying around on this hovering scaffolding thing. So
yeah, it was scary.
Yeah.
Joker flying around.
Yeah, I could see it being very successful. I would love to see it. And I could see if it were successful with kind of a Tim Burton version of Batman Beyond, perhaps in another 20 years doing a Christopher Nolan version of Batman Beyond.
I'm trying to think of any kind of sci-fi kind of person, director or writer that would have just a field day with Batman Beyond.
Well, I can think of at least one, but he's so busy. The director for a game, the hell is that?
What about getting the writers from the show?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before, but the X-Men animated folks are trying to pitch Disney a new show. So these guys, they're out there still.
Yeah.
I mean, I still don't understand why Warner Brothers literally hasn't just ripped off their animated series and just turned those into films. like especially like Justice League Unlimited, like Batman the Animated Series. You have like all these like really good, great, iconic stories there.
You know, I think James Gunn would be a great choice for a director, but he's not. He wouldn't be what's the word? Alien to DC by that point. He's going to have Suicide Squad out, but I think they're grooming him to take a bigger role in MCU. To be honest, so
Taika. What about Taika?
Taika Waititi. He's so much. His style is so rooted in comedy. I'm not sure if he could take it seriously enough. It's going to be too jokey, you know?
Yeah.
Because Batman Beyond has some really dark parts in it. I mean, I would like them to like hold on to that. So,
what's going on with this new Suicide Squad flick? Anyways, is that a sequel to the other one, or are they starting over?
It's unclear.
Ish.
Yeah. So you're having like a lot of the old cast return. The producer called it a reboot, I think. He said it's a total reboot, if I remember correctly.
But Harley's the same.
But yeah, you still have Harley, you still have Rick Flag, you still have Captain Boomerang. Who else was returning? But it looks like they're recruiting new people. So there's been like set photos of Amanda Waller recruiting new people in prison, which include
Waller's still the same.
Yeah, Waller's still the same, which includes like, yeah. So here it is. Peter Safran said that the Suicide Squad is a total reboot, but I'm not really sure how that's going to work, given the fact that you have Harley in Birds of Prey, and then she's supposed to show up in Suicide Squad as well. But she's going to recruit new people, which is like Idris Elba, the Rat Catcher character, and there's a couple other people that looks like she was recruiting in prison. So there's definitely going to be like a new team formed. And I wouldn't be surprised if there might be like two teams, and one goes after the other one. I mean, Suicide Squad is usually known for one of the squad. Like, there's usually like at least part of the squad is trying to break away from Waller and undermine her, and then they'll find a way to like get out of her, like the bombs in the head or whatever, you'll have like loyalists who usually kill those guys. I mean, that's even in the animated movies as well.
Yeah, didn't Rick Flag blow the head off of someone in the first movie?
Slipknot, right?
Yeah, Slipknot.
Yeah, he like died instantly.
I think what was it? Captain Boomerang that tricked him into doing it just to see if it would work.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so US Dutch Kitty says it sounds like a soft reboot. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's a soft reboot. They're bringing in like I don't think Fillion's playing Arm Fall Off Boy. The screenshots show him playing Blackguard. Mark, the set photos. Sorry, looks like he's playing Blackguard, not Arm Fall Off Boy. But there is rumors that Arm Fall Off Boy is going to be in there. He's more than likely going to die very quickly.
His arms fall off. So I feel bad for Nathan Fillion. He came in. He's in the wrong era of. I mean, he's in the latter part of his action roles, in my opinion. Had he been born, 10 years later, he'd be perfect for this whole comic book era genre.
Heck yeah!
Right now.
I mean, I still don't understand. They cast Tom Holland in that Uncharted movie, and I don't know, y'all. I mean, did y'all watch the fan film for Uncharted where Fillion plays Nathan Drake?
I did. He's perfect for the role, but you got to understand these Hollywood types. They see him as can they build a franchise around him at his age?
I think that, I mean, I don't understand that mentality. They're already, like I was talking about that in one of my articles. They're already looking to build franchises off of properties instead of trying to like, hey, let's try and make something good here first. And then, hey, if it's successful, then we can like think about doing something next. But they're like, most of the time they're already too busy building the next thing before they've even built the first thing.
They still see Fillion as a brown coat. That's the thing.
Was that a bad thing? I mean, the show and the movie weren't all that profitable, but they were excellent in terms of quality. So,
in terms of that's when he peaked. I mean,
yeah. Ouch.
At least when that's what people see. In terms of his like action career, about
you're probably right.
At
least within the genre audience, I think you're right.
Because they're all still waiting for a Browncoats reboot.
Didn't he try to buy the franchise and Fox wouldn't have it? Something like that. He tried to buy the rights or something like that.
I have no idea there. I mean, he was just in that. He was on that Castle show. He was like the main character
in the show right now. He's playing a rookie.
The rookie.
Yeah.
So I mean, he was on Castle for 7 years, 2009 to 2016.
It's not necessarily action role. It had action. Had action,
right?
But it wasn't like a predominantly action. It was more of a buddy. It was like a situational buddy. It wasn't a procedural. I'm not sure what you'd call it. It's not a drama either. So whatever. But it was a good show.
I'm trying to think. I mean, Buffy and Firefly, obviously.
He did the last season of Buffy as a villain, and he was pretty good in that too. Right after Firefly ended. So.
Yeah, he was in this thing called Gravity Falls as well. I didn't see it. I didn't see that either. Mm-hmm. And then he was in something called Con Man, which is a TV show.
Didn't see that either.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know he did. He's
in the Netflix show Santa Clarita Diet as well. It's like the zombie show.
I didn't know he was in that. I might have watched it had I known he was there.
Yeah, he plays Gary West. It looks like he was for the second season.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, and he plays another Netflix show. He was a series of unfortunate events. He plays Jacques Snicket, and then he had a guest role on Modern Family for 3 seasons. It looks like
he does voice acting too. Like he's done the Green Lantern at least one time in one of their movies, and I know he's in Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one.
Okay, so he's in both. Script Doctor says he's in both seasons of Santa Clarita.
Okay, maybe I will watch it now. I'm sure it's too late to save the show, but I'll watch it now.
Well, Netflix usually cancels after 3 seasons, anyways. I don't know. I think, he's still got star power. He's still doing starring in these shows.
He's a lovely guy.
Yeah. So. And I think, Halloween proved that you don't need young people to build a franchise around. I mean, they did a $10 million budget and made $80 million opening weekend, I think, or something absurd. And that was with what's her name? Box Office Mojo changed their UI.
Well, a really profitable franchise doesn't. I don't feel it targets anyone specifically. I think it should appeal to of just about everyone. It should be timeless, appeal to all ages, all backgrounds. Much like the original Star Wars, did. When you target one specific demographic, then you're excluding all the other ones.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I just feel like we were talking about this idea that Hollywood wants to build franchises around actors. And I think you could still build something around them. And I think Jamie Lee Curtis proves that with Halloween. They've already got 3 sequels planned.
Oh,
so
wow.
The one that came out last year had a $10 million budget. Domestic opening was $76 million. It made $255 million worldwide.
The Blade reboot, Ali, he's 48. So yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter the age as long as they can pull it off. But he looks young. So
Yeah, he does.
How old is Angelina Jolie?
she's pushing 50, isn't she?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's got to be.
She's 44 actually.
Oh,
She's younger than I thought she was. I thought she was closer to 50.
Yeah.
yeah, me too.
And
Well, they
they've
put
got
her in
her.
that Eternals movie.
Well, she headlines Maleficent, even though I think that bombed last weekend. And then
Yeah.
we'll see what happens with Eternals. Eternals has a lot of people in it.
It's probably easier to invent a franchise or a property with a younger hero. To have an older hero like the Halloween, situation, you have to have kind of a history where she started out very young, decades ago.
Oh, you mean like Star Wars?
Yeah, to start out at the beginning with a very old actor, the first film with a very old hero, I think would be pretty difficult.
So how old is Karl Urban? Let's see here. Karl Urban's 47. He's literally the main in The Boys. So I don't know.
Well, he's another guy who looks. I mean, he looks like
he looks young.
20s. Yeah.
Well, with the de-aging technology, does it really? I mean, I don't know. That stuff's getting really good now.
Oh, expensive
true.
that stuff.
That's true.
So
I can dig up Alec Guinness and put him in.
That mean they could get Donald Pleasance back in Halloween?
You really want to see Alec Guinness back on the big screen, don't you, Don?
Absolutely. The only Obi-Wan for me.
Yeah, so I don't think there's. I just don't buy into this age gap thing. I think there's plenty of examples where you have people who are older, late 40s, that are able to star in a lead a franchise. I mean, you're seeing it with
RDJ.
Robert Downey Jr. with Iron Man. I mean, he's literally the face of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it has been for a decade or plus. So, I mean, how old was he when the first Iron Man came out? How old is he now?
Must have been like mid-40s, right?
He's 54 right now. Iron Man came out in 2008, so that was 11 years ago.
Yep.
So he was 43. So yeah, I mean, right there, I think that just proves it. That you don't need to go young. So that's why I just really found that they went with Tom Holland. I always thought Nathan Drake was always. I guess they're going to go with like a inexperienced Nathan Drake, but that was just a weird casting decision.
Were they paying Tom Holland compared to what they had to pay Nathan Fillion?
I mean, maybe, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Maybe they got Holland really cheap before Spider-Man, but who knows when they signed that contract.
Or maybe they're getting that younger crowd that loves Tom Holland.
I mean, yeah,
is he loved? I know he's loved. Spider-Man is Tom Holland.
Young teenage girls are obsessed with Tom Holland.
They go crazy. You see him at a con, and all the women just stampede over you just to get to him.
He's like the Beatles. He's like
Hampton, because he's freaking British.
Bieber, yeah. He's like the new Bieber.
Until in the next Spider-Man movie, they totally like cuck him, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, Captain Marvel."
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that rumor, or that theory that what was it, cheat sheet?
No, you don't, Don. Oh, don't tell me, dude.
It's not like they can't do it. It's not like they. If it's done right, then it's done right. But I doubt they're going to do it right. They're going to ham-fist it. So I thought it was the way she spoke to him in Endgame was weird to me. It was like,
hi, Peter.
It's like guys are in the middle of a war, aren't you?
Yeah. Hey, Peter Parker.
You got something for me?
Yeah, that made me laugh. I was like, whoa, what does that mean?
And the way she like looked at him too, it was just like, and he's like
15.
He's like curled up in like a ball with like the glove in.
Yeah.
He's like.
Did anybody notice in that scene he let go of the glove and curled up by himself, and the glove bouncing around, getting blown up? I'm like, shouldn't you be holding on to that thing?
He was letting the death mode or kill mode take care of that.
But yeah,
So,
Tom Holland's.
Dutch Kitty says Tom Holland's got nothing on Paul McGann.
Who was Paul McGann?
I have no idea. I have to look him up now.
Now we got to look him up.
See, I thought the women were all in love with Jason Momoa.
Oh, that's
those
another
are
story
the-
today.
Those are the suburban housewives. That's a different age group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're in love with Momoa like my generation was in love with Channing Tatum with Magic Mike.
Yeah,
Well,
Tom
what was the
Holland
next
has all the
Magic
teenagers. It's like the high school, like the young high schoolers and like the
No.
middle schoolers and stuff. From what I understand, talking to some dads that have girls those age.
Huh. I'm glad my goddaughter is only 7. I don't got to deal with that yet. I'm going to be pushing some kids into bushes soon.
We're getting hate in the chat now because we are not Doctor Who fans.
I've gotten that before, and I was at work, and one of my superintendents and one of the newer graphic techs, they were talking about something. I had no idea what they were talking about, and they're like, "We're talking about Doctor Who. Where have you been?" I was like, "I've never gotten into it," and they just kind of like dismissed me and walked away, like I insulted them. I was like, "Wow."
Yeah. My take on this channel about Doctor Who is I checked out of Doctor Who after Tennant was gone.
Okay, panel, everybody. I only have so many hours in my day to watch and read and do the jobby thing. I gotta prioritize. It's just
Yeah, I just never got into Doctor Who. Maybe because it was British and I just wasn't exposed to it early enough. But I traveling in like a blue telephone booth seems odd. That's where you change into your superhero gear.
It was actually really good, but like I said, for me, I checked out of it when David Tennant was gone. I was just like, yeah, I can't deal with this. He was too good. I was just like, yeah, I'm done.
Paul McGann, the 8th Doctor. Dude, he looks like Bilbo Baggins. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that. Right there.
So you want to talk a little bit about Watchmen? Did you watch Watchmen, Drew?
No, I did not. I don't have HBO.
Okay. Do you want to talk a little bit about it, Phil?
Yeah, I watched it while working on stuff at work, with my cell phone pointed toward me away from where my door is to my office, so no one can walk in and see me doing 2 things at the same time.
Hey, Script Doctor will tell you, John, we gotta pull you in on Treadstone. That's where it's at.
I want to watch that too. I've been meaning to watch it because I'm a huge Bourne fan. I have not seen it, but I was excited when I didn't hear about it coming on until 2 weeks before it premiered. I was kind of disappointed in myself about that. So, but it looks really good. I've always been a fan of Bourne, just more so because of the choreography in their fight scenes, and I've always figured that whoever does that should be doing anything for Marvel when it comes to their spy characters. But that's neither here nor there. I think I compare that to what we saw in Winter Soldier, how visceral and up close it was. That kind of I love that stuff, and I love Jason Bourne for it. I think they kind of pioneered that type of fighting, that shaky kind of back up close, shots and very technical, dropping knives and catching it, and I love that. I love all that stuff.
Yeah, Treadstone's actually really good, though.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm probably gonna get on demand, and then it's a limited, isn't it?
It's on USA, yeah.
But it's not an ongoing. It's a limited series, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, but I'm gonna check it out. But Watchmen, it was it was very serious, almost formulaic in terms of like what you could expect a cop movie to show to be, but it had huge aspects of superhero and weird sci-fi stuff mixed in. Not unlike the Watchmen movie, but you can see where a lot of the influence came from, but to say that they're the same story, I can't say that. It's very different from what I saw in the movie.
Did you read the comics?
I have not read the comics.
Yeah.
I think I've read part of something. My cousin had, but I never finished it. He had like the graphic novel, the collected edition, I guess.
So the showrunner said that he didn't call it a sequel, but it is a sequel from the comics. So it's not like off of the movie, but it's supposed to take place after the comics.
Okay.
So everyone's hunting after Dr. Manhattan then?
I
think he's just chilling on Mars.
They haven't talked about anyone other than what is it called? The 7th Cavalry? Is that what they call it?
The 7th Cavalry is this the racist group.
Yeah, I guess they're inspired by Rorschach, and it's outside of them. I really didn't care much for that part. I was more impressed with Regina King's performance. I love the woman. I don't even know the character's name, but she killed it, and I like the fact that they have her face covered the entire time. They can bring in a stunt double and have all that fighting, and the fighting was really good. I thought that was really impressive. But the story itself, and you gotta love Don Johnston. He killed his part. So I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, which is everyone but me and John. But the show itself is really good. I enjoyed it. I can't understand why so many critics were so quick to jump on the bandwagon side saying why they loved it. I don't think it was really necessary why they went that route with it. It's very political in that way, but that nonsense. It was a good show. I loved it. I thought it was good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I did like the fighting. I thought the fighting was good. I like the owl. I liked the reference to the
owl ship. I didn't know that was what they were in until I saw it. I was like, oh, okay, there it is. I know that.
I thought they were just in some like truck in the woods, and then they're like, it's right below you, and I was like, oh, they're somehow maybe they're in that like because I think they showed that
they showed like a blimp thing.
Yeah, blimp in the earlier. I was like, oh, maybe they're in a blimp. I thought the show needed to like explain a little bit more about like what was going on.
It was really weird.
Yeah, I thought like they didn't really provide enough exposition, I think is the right word. Telling me like what was happening. We got that like one scene in the very beginning with the Tulsa race riots.
Right.
And then we never saw that again except at the end with the old man.
But you're saying they should have had more exposition. They didn't have any exposition. They just kind of went right into it.
Right. So I just trying to figure out what was going on, like especially for people who have no idea about like I think about the comics or like why there's like squids falling from the sky and stuff like that. That was never explained.
Well, actually, they touched on it during the interrogation. They were asking the guy they've caught, do you believe the extra dimensional attacks are real or something like that? So they know what's going on. They just haven't told us what's going on yet, and it's commonplace for them. So
right, but it's just like the audience. We have like if you haven't read the comics, you have no idea what that is. And then the whole like scene with what's his name, Jeremy Irons. That was like kind of weird. I thought with the birthday cake and stuff. And then his like butler gave him a horseshoe.
No, he was to cut the cake. Yeah, I was like that was like I said. It was weird. It was a weird. Yeah. The show was weird, but it was well put together and weird. So
yeah, I did like the scene where the police are going after the guys in the house. I thought that was like really well done. I like that. Like the action stuff was pretty well done. All right. Well, let's. You got.
What's Dan Traeger saying? You know,
I
I
would
would
have
have
been
been
okay with the woke if they could tell good stories, but last season of Doctor Who couldn't even. The chat's still talking about Doctor Who.
Still talking about
Who.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to let's do. You guys want to talk X-Men for a little bit?
Yeah, I know.
Menage a Trois and X-Men.
Yeah.
Oh,
Don, what did you think about it? We haven't spoken about it yet.
Okay, so the internet since last week was ablaze because of one picture of the summer house. And that picture had Wolverine, Cyclops, and Jean Grey's room, all concurrent, and there's no door between them. No doors between them.
On the same floor, there's there are 6 other rooms, and 4 of them are being taken up by Rachel Grey or Rachel Summers, Cable, Vulcan, and Havoc. Now, on the diagram, you can clearly see that every one of those rooms have a wall in between their rooms. 2 of them are completely separated, while the other 2 share a wall. On the other side, segregated from everyone else, is, like you said, Wolverine, Jean, and Cyclops, and their diagrams have open spaces in between their walls. Like there's no door there. And the funny thing is, if you saw the end of House of X or Powers of X, they were really chummy, abnormally chummy. And another question, why is Wolverine living in the Summers house exactly?
Yeah. You saw the variant covers where Jean Grey, Wolverine, and Scott Summers are popping out of a cake.
Yeah. And she's in between.
Popping out of a cake?
She's in between them. And
yeah.
I don't know what else they could be saying there. What's happening? Why their bedrooms are connected, especially with the history between those 3 people. Jean and Cyclops having been married, and Wolverine having been after Jean since the late 70s, and gotten her at least one time. Whether anything happened is kind of up in the air, but I know
Age of Apocalypse.
Age of Apocalypse did happen, and so did Ultimate X-Men. Not the same universe, but Ultimate X-Men. He was But it's kind of weird that they left it open like that, and they're just not really talking about it.
There was another thing too that Scott said earlier on before he went to the Summers house. He said it to Polaris. Did you notice it? He said, "I have you, I have Krakoa, and I have your father."
Right.
Is he in a relationship with Polaris?
I don't think so. I think that was him just saying, when he says you, I don't think he meant her personally, but she's there. She's always been a friend of his. Remember, she was kind of a part of the original X-Men team as of the late 60s, early 70s. So I don't think he meant her romantically. She was with him, but she was there. That's what, you're there, I'm here. He said the same thing about, Magneto. I hope he's not only Magneto too. But for those who don't understand, the Summers house, again, if you haven't been keeping track this summer, what's going on, it's kind of hard to explain, but they're using the Krakoa. Krakoa is the living island, which parts of it can build buildings, especially apparently a house on the moon. And their house is alive in a way, and they're on the moon. That's where they live they're not on Earth anymore. At least not the Summers. They don't live on Earth. They still fight. They still go to Earth and they do their thing, but they live on the moon. And that's where Wolverine is with them, living with the Summers family, all of them, even the dead ones that should be dead, but they're not. So again, if you haven't been keeping track of the Summers, hard to explain. There's a lot to talk about. I wrote several articles about it.
I'm like, they're on the moon. Where are they going to run into, the Inhumans and stuff like that?
What happened to them after in humanity?
I don't know what's going on, because you see this new issue, Marauders.
Right.
Emma's talking about Kitty's old costume.
Right. The Excalibur one
with the blue. I'm like, wait a minute. So the 616 actually happened in this world? And then you see Kevin McTaggart and the whole history behind Proteus actually existing. And I'm like, what, did they retcon it, or did Xavier allow it to happen? I think I messaged you about it before.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I think they're all pod people, bro. I think
did you see what Bad Comic Review said? Yeah, he said that.
Read that.
Yeah, this is what they're leaning. What else can they be talking? What else can they be doing with that? I'm not sure, John, if you can pull up the article and show them the actual. I have the picture of the diagram from the comic book. What else can they be saying? What's going on the east corner of the house? What's going on over there? Bedrooms with no walls.
Dude, part of that kind of triggered me.
So Cyclops is a creepy bi dude now.
It is very culty.
It's weird and
it is very culty. I talked about this too with Phil online. I tweeted this, like, Corsair, when he's talking to his son, he has this look of pain on his face, like
concern, deep concern, like
a father should be talking to his son, like. And Scott is just headstrong into doing what needs to be done because that's Scott Summers. And then the father is just, I don't know. I had this conversation with my father when I went down my wrong path. It's like you accept it, but you understand that there's going to be. He's going to have to face the consequences.
That's the first one. If you keep going, you'll see the one with the bedrooms. But that's the first. That's the house itself.
Okay.
But further down, you'll see the one with the bedrooms. The summer house. Yeah, right there.
Okay. So this is them here. Yeah, look.
11, 12.
There's no. These ones are all closed off.
Mm-hmm.
They all share this. It's like a suite.
And Jean's in the middle. Like, does that necessarily mean that Wolverine and Cyclops are bi? I don't think that necessarily means that, but it does mean they're sharing one woman, hopefully not at the same time. But what else is going on there? I mean, what else could be going on there? They got a Jean sandwich.
And you said, like, you said that these two rooms are, like, empty?
The one next to Havoc, right?
17 is empty and 15 is empty.
Right, so there's empty pods here, so Wolverine could have been in one of these.
Easily.
But they stuck him over here.
Yeah. And the thing is, these houses grow the way you want them to grow. You tell Kokoro what you want, and it grows it. So this is what they asked for.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, sounds like they might be going the Iceman route, right?
I don't even want to think about the uses of telekinesis in this.
So it says here, Wolverine is in 11. Yeah, so 12. That's weird. Why is it like that, too? The way they're numbered. 11, 12, and then 10. Does that have anything? These are all...
It all means something.
It all means... This is Hickman. This is Hickman. I don't know why they're numbered that way, but don't put anything past Hickman.
Because these are all like in order, 16, 17, 18, 13, 14, 15, and these are out of order.
Yeah, exactly. They're out of. It's all out of order. Come on. I mean, Wolverine and Cyclops, even when they were in the last series, when they were partners together in Uncanny X-Men, they found what was left of the X-Men on Earth and rebuilt the X-Men, and they were still having fist fights with each other. In that series, like getting ready to fight, like kill each other again. How did they go from that to sharing Jean?
Jean did a little like trick with their minds,
or Xavier did. I still think they're all pod people. I don't know.
I think. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
They were all like by this time. All of them were resurrected in the issue 4 of House of X. They all died in space, and they were reincarnated through the
gold balls.
The gold balls, yeah.
Gold eggs.
I don't trust that they came out of that intact. I don't even think that was the first time they got reborn. So
yeah, I think I'm like, okay, so Hickman's taking on our knowledge of the X-Men, our lore, what we know of the history, and it feels like he's just taking a huge fun dump on it.
It's the X-Men, but it's not the X-Men acting the way we know them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
like I said, I don't see this being adapted to film.
No, it's too weird. But at the same time, it's so weird that it might work on the film if they don't embrace any of the lore. I mean the canon, and they just go straight. If they use this as a basis, and this is what we have to expect from here on out, then it could work. But if you're comparing it to anything you know, good luck.
Wait, Matrix 2 style underground orgy in Zion kind of thing?
Yeah, I remember that, wasn't it? It was real sweaty down there.
Yeah.
So you think that this has nothing to do with? You think that this all might get retconned with Feige taking over publishing?
I think there's a bigger story because I've read Hickman before with his Avengers and Fantastic Four run, and understand something. He is a masterful when it comes to writing. If you're a fan of like straight action, visceral kind of comic book, Hickman's not for you. His writings have layers. House of X, when me and Don started, we had no idea what the ending was gonna be like, and we didn't know that we were reading 4 parts of the same story. I thought this was all different timelines and had nothing to do with each other, and it was all the same story. And he did this right in front of everyone, and no one really got it right till the end. Even at the end, I was still confused. So I'm still confused. So, it's been over for 3 weeks. I'm still not sure what the hell happened. I get it.
I'm not sure what timeline we're in.
So I trust that Hickman's going to tell a great story. By the end, will it be an X-Men story? I'm not sure.
Here's the thing. Feige's over all creative content. So this is being passed up to Feige right now, and he's giving his thumbs up on it.
I'm not sure if he's making those kind of like.
Well, he's at least looking at it.
Yeah, he might have someone like telling him what's happening. I don't know if he has like a. I mean, because this just happened. They're like, I'm not sure what the chain if they've already switched over already, or if that's going to happen like soon. I mean, from what I understand with comic book publishing, stuff like this usually is. It's taken place over the course of like a usually. I mean, they usually plan it out for a while before it actually. Yeah,
Cullen Bunn, the writer of X-Men Blue that came out, I believe, the year before last, 2017.
Mm-hmm.
He spoke recently. I think it was I'm not sure what site. I read it recently. He spoke recently about it because he's allowed to talk about it now. That he kind of gave an excuse to why his run sucked so much. He wasn't allowed to do what he wanted to do because the Hickman stuff was already in the pipes. They couldn't do anything that would interfere with what Hickman was doing, and this was 2 years ago. So if this has been planned out from then, I can't see Feige coming in and steering the boat somewhere else after having 2 years of the X-Men meandering nowhere for a single summer event. So
no. I mean, if you read Cullen Bunn's Magneto, man, that was a freaking awesome story before they decided to like force them to end it with whatever that event was.
It doesn't matter.
Freaking horrible.
He even said he didn't want to write the way he the way he wrote X-Men was basically he feels that it was a placeholder. Nothing didn't really matter because
that's what it looked like.
And that's exactly what happened because there's no way they wrote 12 issues and they all came out within 6 weeks or was it 12? Was it how long did it was 12 weeks, right?
You're talking about House of X and Powers of X?
Powers of X.
Yeah.
It all
came out over 12 straight weeks.
Yeah.
All done by the same artist. This has been done for months and months and months and months.
Yeah.
So, and RB Silva, great job on that whole series. It was
Pepe Larraz too.
Yeah, Pepe. Oh my goodness. If nothing else, it was again, calling it an X-Men story, it was an X-Men story, but was it X-Men characters? I'm not sure. But the story was well written and it was well illustrated. So,
yeah, I actually think I'm definitely going to check those out in trade. I think you guys have definitely convinced me because I tried to jump on the X-Men when Bendis was writing it.
Oh no,
It's horrible.
No,
and I put it down right away.
Wasn't that the run where they retconned Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver as Magneto's
not children? Not children. They took them. They took them away as children. They're not.
And I
children
heard
anymore.
that was because of the movie rights.
Correct.
They're
not saying that, but that's what we all know it was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What got me was that there was like 3 different versions of all the characters, and I was just like, holy crap! Like,
I wrote an article about that, didn't I? About all the duplicate characters. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, you can't keep track of them. I was like, which one is this? Where did they come from?
They said it in this recent issue. They're like, hey, you're the original Pyro, aren't you? Yeah.
But again, that didn't make any sense to me because all right, it does make sense of what they said because he said, I don't remember anything, and then I was here. And I was like, yeah, because the last time I have the comic book. The last time he was on page, he was on fire and dying of the legacy virus, and he was in agony the entire time and pissed off. This guy can really go lucky and happy. I mean, if I get burned to death slowly by my own powers, I'd be pretty pissed off when I'm brought back to life, just me personally. But yeah, I don't like what Dugan did. All right, this last this first issue of Marauders, it was interesting enough for me to finish reading, but I'm not hooked enough to buy another issue. To be honest, my favorite part was Kitty breaking her nose. That was hilarious. But past that, it was like
I'm kind of curious as to why.
Wait, Kitty breaks her nose. How does that?
Can't you basically walk into a wall. She wasn't expecting to. Okay, they haven't explained why, but she can't use the gateways. The gateways are provided by Krakoa, the island, so it allows them to transport from one place to another. But only mutants are allowed to go through it. She tried to go through it just walking normal, when she tried, it was like walking into a wall, and she broke her nose.
Was she not using her power?
She didn't need to. She was going to just walk through a portal, but Krakoa wouldn't allow her through the gateway because they don't know why, but apparently because she's maybe not a mutant or something happened to her while she was in space. It wasn't explained. Okay. And that's the only thing I'm kind of curious about, that and Bishop's investigation. Oh, yeah. Other than that, Bishop. I'm not like, he didn't hook me.
Time traveler.
All right, so do we want to get into these comments that Godfather director Francis Ford Coppola made regarding Marvel films? I know we talked about Scorsese last week, but Scorsese had some extra comments, and then Francis had some more.
Well, it kind of strikes me as sour grapes, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, what? The Godfather did what at the box office?
Are we accounting for inflation?
Yeah. Wow, I did horrible. Let me find. So worldwide, it was like, okay, man, hold on. I'm horrible. Well, you have to also remember in for it. I saw like the box office was like radically different back then. Most of so today, like basically almost all of the box office, like a huge chunk of the box office take is opening weekend, but that wasn't the case back in the day. So I'm like, when I see these old movies with like 300,000 domestic opening, and I'm just like, holy crap. Who is making that noise, by the way?
What noise?
You guys don't hear that? I'm not hearing it anymore.
No.
It's like a heavy breathing noise.
Oh, I was gonna say I didn't fart.
Heavy breathing.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe my headphones are going bad.
Maybe someone's coming to get you, man.
I hear it too, man.
Someone might be outside the window, staring at you. Just.
Oh no.
It's Myers, dude.
I gotta figure out Box Office Mojo changed their UI, so I'm gonna have to figure all this stuff out. But it made 246 million worldwide. I assume that's in 1978 money, so that's a lot. All-time rankings. So yeah, I think what Itchy was saying, Sour Grapes, definitely like they were their movies that they were making were like they were the biggest box office movies.
They were the blockbusters of the day. Yeah.
Well, what they're saying doesn't make sense. Like they're saying that these theaters and producers and movie execs need to stand up for real films and make room for them, but most films that come out have nothing to do with comic book movies. So I don't understand what they're complaining about. If they're complaining about the viewing habits of the general public, tough luck. Make something else if you want to put butts in seats.
I agree.
The reason why these movies make so much money is because they appeal to a large audience. They're fun movies. Kids want to watch them. Adults want to watch them. People want to watch them again because they're fun to watch. You know, when I watch one of their movies, which are great and masterpieces, I don't want to rush out and pay to watch it again. I'll wait for it to come home so I can sit down and dissect it, not go to the theater and be all emotional again in public. It's not something I want to do in public anyway. But I don't understand what they're griping about. And what one has nothing to do with the other, and especially I find it kind of weird that Scorsese had a huge hand in even getting the Joker made. So he didn't say anything about comic book movies. He said Marvel movies specifically because he helped make a DC movie. So he's just like calm down.
I think Scorsese said superhero movies.
He said I think he said Marvel specifically.
Well, I know Coppola said Marvel. I didn't. I went back and looked at that. It's like Empire. I think it was from their print edition, and the original article is from like the Huffington Post, or no, it's from the Guardian, and Scorsese only says superhero films. But I think the question might have been about Marvel, and that's why it was like. But they never said what the question was in the article.
Right. And
so I think people just ran with Marvel.
If it was wrong, Scorsese would have corrected himself. He just kind of doubled down on it a few days later. So
yeah. So this is what
and then Iger responded.
I loved Iger's response. I tweeted about this. I was like, Iger said that because Iger's not a working actor or producer. He doesn't have to be nice to these people.
Right. So this is what Coppola said. He was in like Lyon, France for.
Oh, that's great.
He was receiving some like Prix Lumiere award, I guess. And so he said, when Martin Scorsese says that Marvel pictures are not cinema, he's right, because we expect to learn something from cinema. We expect to gain something, some enlightenment, some knowledge, some inspiration. And then he said, I don't know that anyone gets anything out of seeing the same movie over and over again. Martin was kind when he said it's not cinema. He didn't say it's despicable, which I just say it is. So he was like super.
Get off my lawn.
I guess being entertained is nowhere in that list, eh?
Yeah.
You can't enjoy yourself at the cinema.
Yeah.
It's got to rip your soul out and expose it.
Yeah.
If you walk out of the theater knowing what you saw, they failed.
Yeah, apparently.
Dude, comedies are off limits. No comedy at all. So what was Iger's response to all this stuff? Because I haven't seen that yet.
That was funny.
He says, I'm puzzled by it. If they want to bitch about movies, it's certainly their right. It seems so disrespectful to all people that work on those Marvel films who are working just as hard as the people who work on their films. Speaking of Coppola and Scorsese. Are you telling me Ryan Coogler making Black Panther is somehow doing something that is less than what Marty Scorsese or Francis Ford Coppola has ever done on any of their movies? There, I said it.
He said that? He said there, I said that.
There, I said it.
Yeah, Dutch Kitty in the chat did say that Iger was on par. Iger said that Black Panther was on par. I don't think he's saying it was on par. He's saying the effect of the movie. Does it deserve to have any less than anyone else? If it affects someone personally, then how can you say that it matters less because it's not the movie that you like? I would never say that Black Panther is on par with any of the Scorsese or Coppola's movies because it's not. I think technically it's a good movie, but a little overblown. It doesn't have anywhere. It has no need to be anywhere around the Oscars, even though it won the Oscar for the Oscar it needed to win. The Oscar for was it a costume and makeup?
Yeah, I think so.
I can understand that they created an entire culture that didn't exist. I can And
the music was really good too. I really like the music in
Black
Panther.
But in terms of Best Picture, gosh, mind, get you crazy. Stop that. They had no business being up there. But I think he was comparing it to the effect on someone. If someone watches it and it moves them, who are you to say that they're less of a person because it moved them?
Yeah, I completely agree. The older I get, the more I see the man out of time motif of Captain America connects with me more emotionally. So I think he's full of crap. But
yeah,
I like period movies too myself. But at the end of the day, it's like you say. These things kind of go in trends, and right now the audience wants more superhero films. That's just the way it is.
I got misty-eyed during the whole Peter dusting issue part. Like Tom Holland, he acted his butt off at that little scene. And I heard that was all improv. I was like, he did a really good job with that. I mean, I was like, wow, that was a little. I'm good.
Yeah, I was with Itchy though. The Man Out of Time, Captain America, going back to where he felt he was from, and being with Peggy. That was the part that got me, because there's a deep history behind there. But it's just like a film will have something to say, whether it's intelligible or not, and whether you connect with that or not. Scorsese's just getting bitter because
get off my lawn.
He's bitter because it isn't his name that's plastered all over the marquee. Yeah.
I remember. What was it? Just a couple of years ago, The Departed was like, that was like the big movie.
It was
everyone was talking about it, and that was just a couple of years ago. So he did talk. So Scorsese did elaborate on his original stuff. He was at the Rome Film Fest promoting The Irishman, and he said, and he elaborated on his comments here, and he said the key that I'm hoping for is for theaters to continue to support narrative cinema of this kind. The theaters support the films, but right now the theaters seem to be mainly supporting the theme park, amusement park, comic book films. They're taking over the theaters. I think they can have those films. It's fine. It's just that shouldn't become what our young people believe is cinema. It just shouldn't. And then he kind of started talking about a societal issue at large. and he was lamenting people don't know who Jimmy Hoffa is. And but as well known as he was, time just wiped him away. This is the world we live in. Our children I don't know what they're doing with those devices. They perceive reality differently. They perceive even the concept of what history is supposed to be differently.
Well, you ask anyone in 1970 who Sitting Bull is, they won't be able to tell you.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, Jimmy Hoffa is not that big of a figure. It's not too surprising that he would go forgotten. I don't get what his point is there.
He's still sitting at the bottom of Lake Erie waiting for someone to fish him out. That's
I guess maybe he just wants a golden age of gangster movies to come back, and I don't know. I guess that's just not the market for it right now.
Well, then he should go make a Jabba the Hutt movie. And
gangsters aren't even gangsters
kill two
anymore.
birds with one stone.
To do a gangster movie, it's gonna have to be a period piece because gangsters aren't what they used to be.
No.
Joker gang.
I wouldn't be opposed.
Batman Beyond. There you go.
I wouldn't be opposed to the mob making a comeback.
First of all, let's say something. They're not gone. They're just not what they used to be. They're they're buying property and passing it on to their kids. The mob is still around. They're just not operating the way they used to. Just because the RICO Act. Everyone's scared of going to jail for 1,000 years for doing something connected to their cousin twice removed.
Now Godfather 3 explored that, right?
Yeah. Now they run for office.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Departed explored that too. He was trying to groom the one guy to be a politician. But I mean, if you're gonna do if you want to go back to those like those mob movies, I mean, the Netflix has all those cartel. They've had 2 or 3 of the cartel shows. Narcos, yeah. There's multiple Narcos shows. Yeah. I mean, freaking Sons of Anarchy has is like that. Has the biker gang element. So I mean, that stuff's still being made, and he's making The Irishman. I think it really just comes down to he's jealous.
Yeah, he's like, he's got what is that Clint Eastwood movie? He's like the character in the Clint Eastwood movie, the old
Unforgiven,
angry guy.
El Camino.
El Camino.
Yeah.
Or not El Camino.
I don't think Clint Eastwood.
Gran Torino.
Gran Torino. I knew it was a car. So,
yeah. He's the old angry guy right now.
Get off my lawn.
Well, I don't know. Maybe a couple years down the road, the gangster movie will make a comeback.
Make a good one that everybody's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I think Itchy hit the nail on the head. Make a Jabba the Hutt movie. I mean, or what was those? What were those 2 gangs in The Force Awakens that they basically never touched on ever again?
Oh, gosh.
The Asian ones?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't care about them.
If they were going to do something, I mean, there's already established Star Wars lore. You just do something about the Exchange, because
Cad Bane.
Exchange is the biggest, criminal organization in the galaxy.
Yeah, Jabba's a gangster. He can be your godfather,
Yeah, true. You could go that way.
To it.
Or you could do with what Solo established and put Maul in as a gang leader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, even in Endgame, they touched on it. Like Hawkeye was going around taking out all of these criminals across the world. He was taking out drug cartels. He was going into what were the people, the Triad,
Yakuza.
Yeah. So he was doing all that stuff. So you got that in the making right there. I mean, what Daredevil did that, didn't they? I mean, Kingpin.
Yeah, Kingpin.
So,
Do you think they'll bring the King? They're talking about keeping one or two the Netflix characters and maybe the actors. Do you think they'll bring back Vincent D'Onofrio?
I know he's been itching to go against Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
I'm not really. The rumors are that that they seem to want to bring those characters into the MCU. I'm not really sure. I think that has. I don't know. I think they'll recast personally. Just like X-Men are going to get recast when they eventually bring them in. I don't know. I just don't see.
Which sucks for Fassbender and.
I think they're done with it. I don't think they want anything else to do with this series.
They're phenomenal actors.
I don't know, man. Yeah. I just need to see Blink and Magic and.
Well, you get to see Magic in the next New Mutants.
Yeah,
but coming out before the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Or next year. Or.
Magic is awesome. I don't know if they're going to do her justice though.
No.
I'm not sure if anyone even understands how intricate Magic is. If they want to really do her right, she started out really simple enough, but let me see if I can try to summarize that.
Well, yeah, she's Colossus's sister.
Colossus' sister. She has powers. She was abducted. She's abducted to Limbo, where she was trained in light and dark magic by by a demon and another version of Storm and Kitty Pryde, or Storm. She aged rapidly there, came back to the real world, joined New Mutants with her spell powers, contracted the legacy virus, and died. The same demon that stole her kept a piece of her soul to create the soul sword, but used it to reincarnate her. But she came back with a tainted soul, so she was 100% demon, came back as Dark Child. So now she's a demon in limbo, and the guy brought her back because he was lonely or missed her, and then she beats him and takes over the entire dimension as its ruler. She's a sorceress supreme of limbo. And then she regains her humanity, comes back to the real world, and that's the magic that you know now.
And then doesn't she wield the soul sword?
When she feels like it, yeah. And if she loses control, she reverts back to her demon side. It's not an easy character, but
so what, does she turn back into Dark Child, you mean?
She can. She's done it twice. In Uncanny X-Men, someone killed her human side, and she became 100% pure demon, which is why I don't know why she's in New Mutants now, other than she had been resurrected through this whole House of X thing. So, because she technically died again for the third time.
What we learned is with those eggs, you can bring back a certain version of it.
Yeah,
it's like the apple, the best whatever that time thing is.
The best plot device ever, the resurrecting 3D printer.
It's really disgusting though. He didn't know he was shooting unfertilized eggs.
It's no problem if you die. We'll just 3D print you back.
No, it's because he was Spanish, and then the Spanish slang for balls is huevos, which is eggs.
Oh my gosh.
So
gold labels. Okay.
Hand in hand. There it is. Hickman knew what he was doing with the character. It was written into his powers.
He's a Bendis character, right? Yeah, that makes sense.
I wonder if they're going to actually bring Gambit back.
There's talks of it. It's not impossible that they're talking. There's always talks, but doesn't mean anything.
Since the Gambit solo movie was canceled, it seems like they could just throw him in an X-Men film.
Yeah, they said there's talks. That just means it's not like dead, but it's basically dead, but it's not dead.
Are they going to recast Rogue? I wonder that
they would have to. They're not going to keep they're not going to keep any X-Men characters that you saw in during the Fox, except maybe in the Deadpool.
Oh, good. No,
Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds is staying with Deadpool.
No Sansa Stark.
Keep that version of Colossus. I'm cool with that version of Colossus.
It was CG, so yeah, it's not
Sophie Turner can just move on from X-Men. Thank you.
Yeah, that was all. They can all disappear. They're fine. But I think they're gonna keep the Deadpool stuff separated from the MCU stuff until a certain point. But I don't think you're gonna see much of a crossover there.
I was reading something like if they do a crossover, Deadpool will be like PG-13 in the crossovers, but in his own standalone stuff, he'll be R. That's the rumors going around.
Fantastic.
That makes sense.
I agree.
Yeah, that's how they should do it, probably. I wonder who they would cast as Storm.
They there's someone campaigning. These campaigns never work except in comic books, where what's her name became the writer for Ironheart, which I always thought was ridiculous. You can get a petition and get a job, but whatever. I forgot.
Wait, wasn't that one Asian guy?
One
petitioning
Asian?
to be Shang-Chi?
It didn't work. Yeah.
No, he did. He said it, but I think he said something in like 2015, and they cast him. I think.
But the guy from Fresh Off the Boat, right?
There's an actress from that Stars show, The New Gods or something like that. What are they called?
Oh, you're talking about the Neil Gaiman adaptation or Gaiman adaptation? American Gods.
Gods of America. Yeah, There's an actress on there, and she's campaigning for the role of Storm, and she fits it. She looks like she could do a bang up job. But other than that, there's no one. It's kind of hard to talk about who is going to be a character in an X-Men movie when the concept of mutants doesn't exist in the universe yet.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, but it does. There's Kevin Feige already told us we had that.
Kevin Feige's full of crap.
That deleted scene. Did you not see the deleted scene from Iron Man?
That was a throwaway thing. They did not mean for that to happen, and they couldn't even use it because they would have got sued. Don't give me that BS. That had nothing to do with anything.
But he pulled it out. He pulled it out as soon as they owned it, and was like, "Look,
look
the mutants already exist here. We see it's in our deleted scene."
Mm-hmm. They've just been in hiding this entire time. No, I'm gonna give me that BS.
You have to remember that Iron Man was before Disney bought Marvel too. So
yeah,
he might have. And Kevin Feige was a producer on all the X-Men films, as well as Iron Man and
he was probably telling them he's one of the guys that's gonna get you sued. He's like, well, we can't do that. Like, okay, well, let's just hold it for safekeeping.
Yeah.
Are they supposed to have Jubilee in this iteration of the X-Men?
No, they haven't talked about that. They haven't done it right yet.
Zero details about X-Men, except for Deadpool. And I guess Deadpool has Juggernaut. So,
Ryan Reynolds played Juggernaut. Not all people know that.
Yeah. Well,
what did you guys make of that incarnation of Juggernaut?
I thought it was cool. I thought
it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Wasn't red, but
I thought it was cool. I thought it was. I mean, it was kind of a small part. So, but for what it was, I thought it was funny. The whole movie was pretty funny. So it was pretty. Even the part when the X-Force, got snuff filmed, it was pretty hilarious. The funny thing is they introduced so much with all like Shatterstar.
Yeah.
Goodness, that's the Mojo verse. Like they went deep into it, and then
he was explaining the Mojo verse to Deadpool. Yeah. I'm like, what?
That's deep X-Men lore.
This is like an hour worth.
Like, I'm an alien, but I'm from another dimension. It's like, whoa. Shatterstar is like second level Mojo verse. That's not even like long shot. We're talking Shatterstar. Like, whoa.
That's like introducing the Shi'ar Empire. That's like 2 movies right there.
Which they never did. I don't want to talk about. I'm upset now. Thank you.
Yeah.
They never did that. They had Phoenix. They've shown the Phoenix a total of 4 times in this franchise. Not a single mention of the Shi'ar Empire. Ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. So it's around 11. Does anyone have anything else that you wanted to touch on tonight?
Wait, we're gonna touch on some other stuff too. There's some interesting stuff going on with.
Is Magic would beat Scarlet Witch, right?
Scarlet Witch's powers are sketchy. I couldn't tell you. It depends on what Scarlet Witch you're talking about and who's writing.
Yeah, so is her family lineage.
Yeah, we don't know where she's from anymore, who she is, what she's made of. Well, I mean, if you okay, we're gonna get real geeky right here. All right,
here we go.
All right, are we talking Scarlet Witch and magic on Earth, or Scarlet Witch and magic in her purest form? Magic in her purest form in Limbo is all powerful. She is omnipotent nearly in Limbo. You cannot beat magic in Limbo. On Earth, yeah, Scarlet Witch is going to win because she has, God powers. You don't know what she could, she
right, that's true.
So, but in Limbo, magic, all the way in Limbo.
Oh, Jeph Loeb.
Oh, Jeph Loeb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good call.
There we go.
All right, who's jumping for joy?
So he's out. The reports are that he's out, but they made sure to clarify that he was already thinking about leaving before Feige, and he was already putting feelers out. And I saw some rumor that he might go to like the DC universe.
Oh, they need a lot of help. Do they need Jeph Loeb's help?
The only thing Jeph Loeb could help with over there is from an executive standpoint, not in a creative standpoint. He needs to stay away from all the creative decisions. Organization-wise, the man puts out a lot of stuff. Now the quality of it varies. Yeah, he can help them put stuff out if that's what they need him for.
Quality is okay.
Like, all right, okay. Jeph Loeb, he's had a hand in all the Marvel television stuff. That includes Legion. That includes
good.
The Gifted,
Inhumans, The Gifted. Did he have anything, the Runaways? Did he have anything to do with Shield?
Yeah, he does Agents of Shield.
He did Peggy Carter, Shield.
Yeah, Peggy Carter.
Yeah, he can put out a lot of content over a short amount of time, but again, the quality varies. Like the Inhumans, for one, for goodness sake.
But then you got Daredevil. You got
Daredevil. Yeah.
You got Jessica Jones.
You got the first half of Luke Cage. Yeah.
The first season.
The first season. Listen, I love the second season. The second half.
Oh, with Bushmaster.
I'm Jamaican, so I love the second season. It was great for me. Even my headphones are Jamaican. I got a little thing. I'm from my family. Culturally, I'm Jamaican, so I love the second season. But the first half of the first season, it blows everything. In my opinion, blows everything out of the water.
Yeah,
but when they killed Cottonmouth, it killed the rest of the series. So, but
and on the flip side, Iron Fist.
Yeah, that was a whole cluster. The second season was better than the first, but still not great. No, it
wasn't great.
No. And Jessica Jones, if you can watch it, it's good. It kind of traumatized me. It was messed up. When it was messed up, it was really messed up.
I only watched the first season.
Wasn't Punisher?
Punisher was good too. If you were the hyper-violent thing, it was good. It was good. Yeah, again, kind of traumatizing, but it was good.
The car chase in Punisher was I like the car chase. The Mustang.
His premiere in Daredevil.
That too. Yeah, the
prison fight.
Yeah, those first 4 episodes in Daredevil season 2 were really good.
Yeah,
which was like they literally just ripped straight from the comic.
Straight from the comics. Chained up Daredevil to the rooftop.
Yeah.
Let's have a talk. Yep.
Yeah, and then I think was it episode 4 where he fights Kingpin in the prison?
Oh yeah,
that was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely had, like, as an executive, he had some hits. Rip Doctor is saying he wasn't a writer, and there was and he actually is criticizing Loeb, saying there's too much planning in TV, and he's not a planner.
So what was he doing? If he wasn't writing and he wasn't planning, what was he doing? What was his function in the apparatus?
I'm not really.
He wasn't writing. I know that for sure, but I thought he was an executive on all that stuff.
Yeah, he might have been managing like budgets and stuff.
Don't say
that was Perlmutter.
Don't say Inhumans was managed.
That was IKEA budget.
Dude, the hair on Medusa was horrible.
They cut it off to save money.
Yeah,
they shaved that woman's head to save money.
There's a freaking, I don't know, the guy who does the superhero beatdowns. I don't know if you guys watch that channel.
Yeah.
He did a trailer for this, like, he was supposed to have like a mini series. I think he did, maybe. I think that he did, like, there's like 4 episodes for this like Valiant Comics like adaptation. And so Valiant has this character she's like a ninjak villain, and she has like hair that's similar to Medusa, and it looks way better than the Inhumans. Let's see if I can pull it up here.
The YouTube produced show did better than the entire Inhumans production. That's funny.
Yeah, it looks way better, like, because she has like that. Her hair is like, can be used as like a weapon as well, and it's like extremely powerful.
Oh, I've seen lots of things done with her hair, like in Inhumans versus X-Men when they're about to go to war with the X-Men. she had her hair pick up blades. I thought I've never seen that before. I thought that was dope. Like strands of her hair reached around and picked up these black blades, so her hair was like laced with metal. I was like, wow, that's pretty hardcore. I didn't know she did that. So basically turned her hair into a buzzsaw. It was crazy.
That's imagination. It does wonders. Let me see if I can. I'm trying to find it here so I can show you guys.
But did anyone watch the Inhuman show? I mean, that's
I
a
watched
show to have
first episode. It was just so cringy.
Did you watch it in theaters? Please say no.
No.
I didn't spend money on that thing.
I had the opportunity during the Comic-Con that weekend to go to an IMAX theater and watch the first episode. Never got around to it. I preferred drinking. There was a sci-fi party held by the guy that's doing Shazam, Zachary Levi. I was like, okay, cool. Either drink with Zachary Levi or watching Humans.
Yeah, exactly.
Party with Zachary Levi. I'll do it any day.
What was worse, Inhumans or Iron Fist first season?
I didn't think Iron Fist was that terrible. It wasn't too terrible.
Iron Fist was all over the place.
It had parts that were digestible, but most of it was like what made it bad was its plot, and the story was kind of like the stuff that you wanted to see, you didn't get to see, in my opinion.
So, are we happy that Jeph Loeb's gone?
I'm indifferent.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed like Marvel TV was going down the drain anyways.
His job was disappearing anyway, so what was he going to do anyway?
I think the whole fact that the Hollywood trades were saying that, like, oh, he was already looking to step aside anyways is just like, yeah, he saw the writing on the wall with all of those MCU Marvel Studio announcements for Disney Plus.
Oh yeah.
And Marvel TV was already winding down. Like, I mean, you know stuff's happening when like, I mean, you can just see it on the wall when your company's making announcements and you're
not included.
Part in it, yeah. It's like, okay, you better start looking for something else.
The chat is saying that Humans was much worse than Iron Fist.
Yeah.
It was. I laughed a lot
because
watching Inhumans. I
think it's because I actually watched Iron Fist that I think Iron Fist was worse. I didn't sit through Inhumans. So
you can always go catch up on Hulu, I think. Knock yourself out.
No.
It was pretty bad. It was a part where Gorgon was yelling, was walking into the ocean, knowing he can't swim, screaming for his cousin Triton because he was upset, and then he started to drown, and then people saved him. And I still don't understand what happened there. And then they tried to say that he had special boots is why he didn't have the cloven feet, which was again cost saving. So it was like, oh yeah, these are my special boots. I can walk normal with them. I was like, no, those are your feet.
I still don't know how they're going to approach that concept in the MCU if
ignore it.
Ms. Marvel.
They're going to ignore the Inhumans. The first attempt, just to ignore it. That's all they can do.
So you think Ms. Marvel's going to be a mutant?
He ignored the TV show.
The TV show is going to be yeah.
They brought it up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There was never any connection there.
All right. Well, before we wrap up, John, I just want to say, since I got in late, just say my piece on Star Wars real quick. I'll make it short and sweet because I did my first YouTube video. I have a video on my channel where I kind of did a quick reaction and breakdown to the trailer myself. But I will say this, okay? Like after the leaks today, for me, it's not so much on JJ, but it confirms to me that The Last Jedi completely ruined the franchise and put it in a state where they couldn't write themselves out of the corner that The Last Jedi put them in. So
Yeah.
this failure is squarely on Rian Johnson. And when people go to see this movie in the theater, I think they're going to pay their respects. I don't think that this movie is going to save Star Wars whatsoever. And it's a very sad end. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah,
That's
I
an
don't
Iron
think it
Fist
will
season
either.
2.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Wait,
let's
where
go
are
around.
these leaks?
They're all we got them on the. I mean, Itchy has like tons of them on Disney Star Wars is Dumb, and then we've got a couple stories on Bounding as well. Let's go around the horn. So Itchy, I know we talked about yesterday or last week. You are working on a book.
Yeah, so I still have my Indiegogo going on. You can find a link to it on my blog. And it's basically a book. I'm going to be using my blog as the foundational research for the book. And it's going to be focusing on strategies and tactics that SJWs have used in these IPs. And it's going to suggest countermeasures, how to combat them in this kind of culture war we're in. And it's going to show how it's happened to Star Wars throughout the phases of the Geekergate, which is essentially kind of a template model for how it's happening in every IP. And it is going to happen again in another IP. And hopefully this book will be a kind of a playbook for people so they can see what's coming around the corner when it happens to their hobby. I'm also going to be publishing on my blog and tweeting out a new T-shirt right now.
Sweet.
So,
We did just get a super chat from Dr. Coffin Nails for $2. He says, Itchy, I'm late. What did you think of the trailer?
Oh,
God, I thought it was boring and bland.
Space horses weren't exciting for you?
No, it was so dumb.
Cavalry charge!
So dumb. Cavalry on the hull of a Star Destroyer. I don't know who thought of that, but that was not a good idea. It was really boring. To echo George Lucas, what he said in regards to The Force Awakens, there's nothing new. It was dull. All the trailers for Rise of Skywalker have been pretty dull. It's just X-Wings and TIE Fighters and Star Destroyers, all the same stuff.
No, it's a bunch of beauty shots and just hodgepodge stuff put together, and it just goes back to what everybody's been saying. The movie is in deep trouble because they've had to have all these reshoots and everything.
Yeah, it's all 40-year-old Ralph McQuarrie leftovers. I mean, they're not even designing anything new. These are all designs. The throne that you saw in the trailer, came from a 1981 sketch from Ralph McQuarrie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not doing anything new. It's incredible. So yeah, it was boring, dull. That's it.
All right. So yeah, we'll look for that new T-shirt design. Look for that. And you said that'll be on your website?
Yeah, on the blog, and I'm going to tweet it out too.
And your website is Disney Star Wars is Dumb.
Yes.
All right, Drew, I know you're working on your Supreme Heretic YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm. I just did my first YouTube video this morning. It's like I said, it's a quick breakdown of the episode 9 trailer and some quick thoughts about it. So if everybody could go and like and subscribe and check it out, that would be a huge help because I'm trying to get the channel off the ground. So some support would be wonderful. So I would appreciate that. And of course, you can read me at boundingintocomics.com, where all these wonderful guys are. And we give you the best in pop culture, movie, comics, anything under the sun that you can imagine in geek culture. We got you covered. So make sure that you read us.
If you DM me a link to your YouTube channel, I'll throw it on the blog roll on my blog.
Oh, Itchy. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah,
I will.
sure.
I'll do that.
And Don, you're also working on your YouTube channel as well. You got a Joker review up, I think I saw.
Yeah, very, very late Joker review. But you know what? People in China can go watch it and get the movie spoiled for them because the movie will not be releasing in China.
Why
That's
is that?
the new news. That's the new news, apparently. Late breaking story.
They don't want to show people overthrowing the government.
That's not a general. Yeah,
I mean,
you're not
right?
gonna yeah.
You know what's funny about that? I think people should be more concerned about Watchmen than what they saw in Joker.
Oh yeah.
Is Watchmen shown in China?
I don't know.
Probably easier to get than Joker. I'm sure.
I mean, especially that scene with the lettuce truck.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd be more concerned about that show than the Joker movie, to be honest. So,
yeah.
We'll see if anyone has, but because it leans in a certain political direction, it won't go. No one will have a problem with it. So it is what it is. But yeah,
I threw a Joker review up there. I did as much as I could with the audio editing. I threw some lower thirds graphics, some clips that got copyrighted. Got the copyright little check mark thing. But yeah, I have all these skills in kind of video editing, so might as well use them, right?
Yeah.
Just make sure everybody go check out Don's channel. You know, he's starting up off the ground, so shoot him some support and some love, and let's get him going in this YouTube world.
Same with Drew's channel.
You should just make a bounty of the comic network. There you go.
we're gonna go after Geeks and Gamers there. Jeremy Griggs, watch out. Coming for you. Yeah. So Phil, you've got your automobile website, right? Car website. That sounds weird.
It's we're sharing a website with our parent company, so it's not really. It's more like a page and a website right now. We're still building, so right now it's just up and down until we can get everything off the ground. Just
wait, you have an automobile website and you couldn't tell the Gran Torino?
I couldn't remember which one was a Gran Torino or El Camino. It's all different languages. I mean, you gotta give me a break. They're both Spanish, basically Spanish words. I was like, come on.
Two different makes. One's a Ford, one's a Chevy.
There you go.
No, you do mainly like high-end sports cars, right?
I wouldn't even say high-end. We've done several, but when it comes up, I wouldn't say high-end. I'd say mostly street cars. Mostly street cars.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some expensive street cars I've been around, but a couple $100,000 worth of stuff done to it. But yeah.
What's the website?
It's on. It's part of StreetRacingMadeSafe.com. That's what it's part of right now. That's our parent company. At the moment, like I said, we're sharing a page with them, but there's nothing new on there. Everything's being built into our digital magazine. We're going to be put on issue soon, but that's what we're working on right now. So everything on there is pretty old, to be honest, but we're there.
Okay.
You can find us on Instagram, SRI _magazine. So, but that's about it.
Are you writing about this Marauders issue?
I don't know if I should. I found it kind of lacking in many ways that keep me interested. I'll see if I think of anything that caught my attention to write more than 100 words about, but we'll see.
All right. Well, I am John Trent, and we continually update bountyintocomics.com almost every single day, and I will also try and get a video up every day as well. And so yeah, we'll have a video up tomorrow. It'll probably be Star Wars. That's the hot stuff right now. Probably maybe touch on some of the things that we talked about here and go a little bit more in depth. I really like that we're talking about the Fandango and the Atom ticket stuff. I think I might do a video on that tomorrow. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, it's super good stuff. So yeah, thank you all for joining us. We had a great stream. We do this every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, and then sometimes we'll do live stream reactions. I usually do a Titans review on Fridays, usually in the afternoon. The DC Universe show. I was not able to get to it this week. I still haven't caught up with it yet. So I might do a double review this Friday for episodes 6 and 7. I think that's where we're at. So look forward to that on Friday. But yeah, thank you.
No, I was gonna say at least next week I'll be on time. I'll make sure that I don't eat a bunch of tacos and go in a food coma beforehand.
Yeah, and hopefully Jorge will be able to join us next week as well. And yeah, thank you again, Itchy, for joining us. Your Star Wars knowledge is just fantastic.
Thanks, Itchy.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
No, we really appreciate you.
You're awesome.
Thanks for coming out, man.
It's an honor, man.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, everyone. Thank you all, and have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Have a good day.
Thanks, guys. Peace.
Don's gonna exit
Don's
right.
gone.
Oh,
Don's gone.
he's
Yeah, he's
done.
gone.
He's so done.